Us. Welcome back to the Gran Torino. Before we get started, like I always do, please don't forget, press the like button, press the subscription button and the bell, and you'll be reminded of future conversations here on the Gran Torino. And again, before we get started, I want to thank you all for your continued support over on the Gran Torino website, World Wide Web, grandtorino.ie. Don't forget to check out our online store there. Plenty of merchandise for you to check in, new designs on the way. Keep your eyes peeled. But again, thank you for your continued support. And to my Patreon subscribers, please, thank you all again for your continued support. Really much appreciated. Help to elevate the platform and keep us going in these difficult times. Now, a quick aside from what's going on in town, and a big shout out to Gemma O'Doherty and our continued fight outside Google HQ, and all her supporters for their continuing showing up amid even all the frustrating nonsense of the crusty clowns that keep showing up. Big shout out to all of you there. I'll be around in due course. Bear with things going on in the background. So over the weekend I became aware of this document issued by the Imam Tawhidi, the Imam of Peace, you might know him. I'll stick his link in the description box. But I wanted to tie this in now with some other work that's going on in the background with some other researchers. And just to tie in, I thought this critical doctrine of peace deserved its own video format or its own speaking about. But let me get straight into it here. Sheikh Tawhidi is an imam based out of Australia and continues to travel around the world. Obviously has a fatwa on his head because he goes against the very principles of the extremist form of Islam. And I wanted to give this document, this doctrine of peace, a bit of airtime because I think it's critical. And towards it there, I'm going to throw in a few bits and pieces that relate back here in Ireland. So looking here at the document, a document of peace. First, the Imam starts off by saying the law. Imam Tawhidi does not support Sharia law, believes that the law of the land is superior to law of religion, and that violent Sharia law must not be applied. The reason for this is people must have the full right and complete authority to form their own laws and choose their own leaders. Scrolling down, Islamic governments. Imam Tawhidi believes that all Islamic governments and caliphates are illegitimate. The role of religion is to guide and not to govern. Therefore, all religious scriptures cannot be used as government constitutions. Bear that in mind as we go forward. Imam Tawhidi also believes that the Prophet Muhammad's government was a myth which did not exist. His forthcoming book shall shed light on this matter. Keep your eyes peeled out for that. The government and constitution. Imam Tawhidi is known for his cooperation from various government departments within and outside of Australia, promoting peace, tolerance, equality, and respect among numerous societies. Imam Tawhidi enjoys healthy relationships with government officials and protective services. He believes that the Constitution and the Constitution alone should be followed in order to achieve unity and peace. Very important. Scrolling on down to national security, Imam Tawhidi considers all those listed in the Australian list of terrorist organisations as terrorists. The same applies to the list of terrorist organisations issued by the governments of the US, UK, UAE and all of their allies. Imam Tawhidi also encourages Muslim men and women to join the police force and to stand and speak up against acts of violence and terrorism. Politics and religion. Religion should never be mixed with politics, and a government must never govern in the name of religion. Governments should function based upon an agreed constitution and not upon the religion of the ruler. ISIS and Islamic extremism. Imam Tawhidi is Australia's leading critic of ISIS and Islamic extremism, denouncing it as a dangerous fundamentalist and extremist body. His social networks give voice against ISIS and all forms of extremism in the name of Islam. Imam Tawhidi leads annual processions against ISIS throughout Australia, and he calls on to all Muslims, Imams, to speak out against terrorist organisations while publicly condemning Imams who remain silent. Critical that the Muslim community gets involved in denouncing these things. and I mean the whole community, not just the apologists. Extremism, right-wing and left-wing politics. Stay away from both far left and far right. Keep a balance in all areas of life. Disagreements are necessary and dialogue is healthy. Maintain the peace. The killing of apostates and ex-Muslims. Imam Tawhidi believes that apostates and those who leave Islam are not to be harmed in any way. They must not be forced into believing what they do not wish to believe. Homosexuality and gay marriage. On gay marriage, Imam Tawhidi believes in following the law of the land. On homosexuals, Imam Tawhidi does not support hating, harming or killing homosexuals and believes that their human rights must be protected. Immigration. Imam Tawhidi supports a strong and serious immigration policy. He has repeatedly called for the strict vetting of refugees after 2 Muslim refugees conducted terrorist attacks and sieges which killed innocent Australians. Imam Tawhidi supports the deportation of Islamic extremists, Islamists, and all those charged with terror offences. Likewise, he supports the revoking of citizenships from terrorists who depart the country to join the jihad in the Middle East. Very important. With our own Lisa Smith situation. Imam Tawhidi says, revoke the citizenship. Dialogue and interfaith. Imam Tawhidi believes in a professional dialogue with people from different beliefs, religious and backgrounds. And as a man of peace, he is not concerned with left-wing or right-wing politics when preaching his message of peace. Since 2016, Imam Tawhidi has met with different groups on both the left and the right to discuss ways of achieving peace and mutual understanding. Imam Tawhidi does not discriminate between any religious groups and respects, visits and loves all equally. He regularly visits Jewish, Christian, Sikh, Hindu and Buddhist religious communities, amongst others. Palestine, the Holocaust and anti-Semitism. Imam Tawhidi believes, number one, believes that Palestine is Jewish land. His Huffington Post article, Why I Believe Palestine is Jewish Land, can be found here, and I will leave the link to the Vision of Peace document in the description box below. You can follow up on your own investigations there. Number two, acknowledges the Holocaust and the historical current suffering of the Jewish people. 3, respects all forms of anti-Semitism. 4, has adopted the international definition of anti-Semitism as the standard definition of anti-Semitism. Myself and himself will probably part ways, but that would be part of a healthy dialogue, which I think globally the world needs to have. Grand Ayatollahs. Up until 2013, Imam Tawhidi was educated by and under the supervision of Grand Ayatollahs, whom opposed the Iranian regime and Hezbollah. Imam Tawhidi has no current affiliation with any Grand Ayatollah, nor does he represent any Ayatollah for that matter. He is a completely independent individual who does not report to any superior cleric and belongs to no hierarchy or governing Islamic body. This matter has been presented in detail to concerned government departments and intelligence agencies. As for the future dialogue purposes, Imam Tawhidi welcomes the opportunity to meet the Grand Ayatollah, who shares some of his views and believe in the need for Islamic reformation. Grand Muftis. Imam Tawhidi does not recognize the authority of any Grand Mufti. He believes that such a position has no place in a democratic society. Klansky. However, since such a position is likely to exist forever, Imam Tawhidi has called for a change within the Australian National Imams Council in the past, proposing that they appoint a female Mufti. Intriguing. Gender equality and women's rights. Women's rights are human rights. Gender equality and ensuring universal rights are essential ingredients for sustainable development. Now more than ever, we need to recognize the centrality of gender equality. Imam Tawhidi works towards the ending gender inequality and views this mission as the grand objective of the 21st century. Both men and women should receive equal treatment and not be discriminated based on their gender. Goes without saying. For me, child brides and female genital mutilation. Imam Tawhidi rejects all teachings which promote child marriage and female genital mutilation. He condemns all Imams, Islamic authorities, jurists who promote and practice such crimes against women, regardless of their denomination and position within Islam. Critical that all of that is denounced. Since 2017, Imam Tawhidi has worked alongside tens of victims of child marriage and FGM, female genital mutilation, and has assisted in the achieving a divorce and or regaining their rights from oppressive families and religious centres. Halal certification. Remember this. Imam Tawhidi separates between halal food and halal certification. He has denounced halal certification as a business in the name of religion and an insult to non-Muslims. Imam Tawhidi believes that Muslims should have an app or a website that lists all the foods that they cannot consume, instead of charging the majority of the nation money for halal certification to be applied on products in public supermarkets. Taqiyya. Imam Tawhidi rejects the use of taqiyya and the concealing of one's main beliefs for personal safety, and believes that in open societies where police protects the citizens, moderate Muslims should express their views and openly criticize the extremist elements within their communities. Critically important. Critically important that you go research if you don't understand what taqiyya is. It's in the doctrine, it's in the book. Private Islamic schools. Imam Tawhidi was educated in a private Muslim school in Australia and has worked closely with government officials on matters concerning radicalisation and indoctrination. He has called for an investigation into Muslim schools after the Australian government revoked funding for several private Muslim schools. In 2017, Imam Tawhidi wanted Islamic schools closed due to lack of transparency and many cases of radicalisation. Giving back to the country. Imam Tawhidi believes that all citizens should give back to their country and nation. This can be done through volunteering in public events, joining the police force, reporting on crime, cleaning the roads, engaging in beneficial programs, or donating towards charity organisations. And finally, patriot Imams. Imam Tawhidi believes in the importance of having a council of patriot Imams who stand for the values that have preserved Western civilization. He believes that moderate Muslims should publicly unite with the majority of the nation against extremist elements within the Muslim community. Now, I just want to touch back in with the child brides and female genital mutilation. Obviously, the practice is ongoing here with up to last recorded 14,000 female genital mutilations here in Ireland. But again, our answer to the solution is that we've got two of the best female genital mutilation surgical clinics here in Ireland. That's a mockery. That's laughable. Laughable. I think to date, standing in Ireland, and I'm open to be corrected, one prosecution carrying a fine of €100 on the last time I checked in on that. Child brides goes without saying. Goes without saying. And I want to touch back to what the Imam said about halal certification. Imam Tawhidi separates between halal food and halal certification. He has denounced halal certification as a business in the name of a religion and an insult to non-Muslims. In Ireland, our Department of Halal Certification, EU, which on further inspection is a business name. It's not connected to any Irish state organisation over here. It's merely called as a business, the Department of Halal Certification EU. And it's run out of the Dublin Mosque, and I believe the very own Al-Qaidri is the sole proprietor, or having checked, the business has been dissolved, but it's only been up and running for 4 years. Now, that Imam over in Australia denounces halal certification as a Ponzi scheme. Ponzi scheme to direct money or feed money into mosques and thereby facilitating whatever the Imams, whatever visiting Imams preach, because we have no way of verifying or checking any visiting Imams or what they preach. But having a look down here at the list of clients that's listed upon the website here, the Department of Halal Certification EU, and it also says it's 100% Irish owned. But these list of clients here based in Ireland and around, The Brunch Box, Gallagher's, Arzita, Glanbia, Ireland, all carrying supposedly halal certification. Brennan's Bread, Clean Marine Bill, Promise, Epicom Food, Bioscience, Kyo's, your packets of crisps, Promise, Epicom, Bioscience, Nutrition Science Ireland, Glen Isles, Kyo's, Dansko, Irish Country Meats, the Sheep Meat Specialists, Cyber Colours, Avonmore Milk, Agro, and Gate Gourmet, which I believe goes on to the airplanes. So your food, should you decide to pursue and carry on your investigations, I would presume Dublin Airport is also issuing out halal meats. Halal foods we don't have a problem with, but halal certifications is a business to fund the mosques. Now that ties in with what the Imam said in part of his vision, was also that Muslims should adhere to the constitution, the government and constitutions. And I want to tie that in again with the adherence from the Islamic Foundation of Ireland and its website, and I will list that down below. And I encourage you to go through. But part of the IFA membership is an adherence to a constitution linked inside the membership, inside the website. And reading through it and having gone through it, I want to draw your attention to rule number 4, aims and objectives. And part of that, you will see that subsection E, you'll have A, B, C, D, and E, but E, the Islamic Centre shall be dedicated to the service of Allah, peace be upon him, and shall remain above any ethnic and territorial consideration. So their constitution and their beliefs in halal certification or halal foods supersede any ethnic and territorial considerations. I would encourage you to follow up on this, but it's part of an ongoing research program that we're doing here in the background in the Grand Torino, that we will be following it up. But how does that clash with the Imam of Peace's new vision of peace? Not very well. So I would encourage you all to go do your investigations, and having sent out many emails and having only very few numerous correspondence back from the likes of Avonmore and others to say that they have indeed got halal certification. I'm going to leave it upon it there, but I will be coming back to it and broaching on the subject further as our research continues. With that, just a short little broadcast here, and I am delighted to see the Imam of Peace at least bringing out some sort of documentation for the reformation of Islam. It's critically needed in these times. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of the Grand Torino. Don't forget, press the like button, press the subscription button, and the little blue bell, and we'll see you all again on the next episode of the Grand Torino. Us.